call that radio. You call that radio TV. Yo. You call that radio TV.
This is You Call That Radio.
This is You Call That Radio. Gail Something-Else about to join us on the show. Really looking forward to this one. How's all doing? It feels like it's been a while. I've been camping. And it feels like it's been a wee while. So I hope you've all been well. Let us know in the comments how you're doing. And you see behind me here, we're going to talk about festivals tonight, which I'm excited about. Gail, are festivals happening?
It definitely seems like some are, yeah. It's a lot easier down here on the grassroots than it is for it's the kind of middle ground I feel sorry for, because you've got, you know, those rich fuckers at the top like Melvin Benn, who runs Reading and Leeds, and Download, I think, and Latitude and ones like that are all kind of, you know, it's the old boys club in it, and they're all getting in with their like government pilots and all this kind of shebang. So yeah, it's the kind of, I suppose, 2,000 people upwards to the massive ones that have got the biggest fight on their hands, because the government won't supply any COVID cancellation insurance, and when you're in that bracket you have to pay for things in advance. And, you know, not all businesses are surviving through this, so some of their subcontractors aren't surviving and they're losing deposits they can't carry over, and all that depressing kind of stuff. But I know loads of us are trying, and down here where it's tiny, it's definitely loads easier.
Yeah, because yeah, it seems like, I mean, I think obviously Scotland and England are a bit different, but it does seem like there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for things that are under 1,000 and stuff like that. Yeah. It seems like at least that should be going ahead. I mean, obviously, what you're saying, that there is that sort of group of festivals that are independent, but they've just, you know, they're just successful and they've just done a little bit better, but they're booking bigger acts and they're having to pay deposits. And I mean, there's Scandinavian countries which did do insurance policy for everyone so that they could cancel it. But obviously, it just seems like our governments don't give a fuck.
Well, no. And I mean, there's, you know, we've had lots of conversations, me among my grassroots friends, about how the arts scene in the UK is pretty left-leaning, you know, so the Tories aren't going to lose any votes by chucking us all in the bin, right?
It's very true. And then also, like, then you've got the likes of Ascot, which obviously they fund Tories and they seem to do okay. They're allowed to do things. Honestly, when they first started bringing back lockdown, it was like horse racing was immediately back on the cards as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like a conspiracy theory to say that they don't give a fuck, and it is kind of like going at the back of the queue. Yeah, but at the same time, people need music, and eventually people will get. People are getting sick of it. I think that everybody's in the music scene, the majority of people have been very patient and understanding of the situation we're in. But it seems like this is now the point, you know, when you've got Ascot going on, you've got the majority of vulnerable and elderly people double vaxxed, and we've also got these tests that are fairly accurate and they work very fast. So it does seem like come on to fuck sort of thing. Sorry for swearing. But yeah, you know what I mean? Come on, we're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think because, you know, there's quite a lot of evidence that this new variant is affecting young people quite badly. So, you know, as soon as they've got the youngsters vaccinated, then really there's no reason not to set us free. We all have to be socially responsible and also accept people's different levels of what they're ready to do, you know?
Yeah, like it's just things like the hug. You know, I mean, I think people are just going to be careful about the hugs, you know, like, because some people will be freaked out by a hug that maybe wouldn't have been in the past.
It's important to ask.
Yeah.
Really important to ask. I mean, you know, I'm hugging my friends, but we're kind of asking each other first, and just don't breathe, move your head over here, just have a body hug, you know.
You do the hugs. Do you do the hugs? Yeah. But it's like, I suppose, like before like I started going to sort of festivals and stuff, or like going to independent festivals, it used to be like someone you didn't know, it would be a handshake, but the hug thing was just like a kind of universal greeting now, even to people that you've just met. And I actually find that like a good way to do it rather than the sort of awkward handshake, because especially, I'm involved in the hip hop scene as well, so handshakes can get complicated. There's different ways of doing it. And
Oh dear, like the Masons, but with
well,
fast
the West Coast does have that as well, and you don't know if you've just joined a cult. So a hug seems pretty straightforward. Do you know what I mean?
Just be careful how many pats you do on the back, right?
Yeah, well, you don't know. I don't know the secret codes, so you may accidentally do them. I don't know how it works. So I've got on the green screen behind me. So you're by the sea. So let's talk a little bit about that. So fingers crossed, it's looking good for late September. Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful of Linda's Farm Festival in September. I'm hopeful of Knockin' Gorick, which is late September as well. And yeah, it's a cracking lineup.
Yeah, there's some more to add to that as well. I've just been a bit lazy. It's been weird kind of getting back into the whole organizer thing. We've been doing an end of season party since 2012. And this is a new site for us, although I've taken the tea tent to other events there. And you can see the sea from it, which is amazing. The site's capacity is huge, and we're a 499. So there's no issue with us selling out, which I think we've got about 30 tickets left or something. If we sell out, we're still going to be like at under a quarter of the capacity for the site. So that's one of the things at the moment, is you can only have half the amount of people that a venue would normally hold, or a site would normally hold. So and we've got, quite a few of my crew are NHS staff as well. So we're all pretty on it with risk assessments and keeping everybody safe. I wouldn't put events on at the moment, or even plan to put them on, if I didn't believe that we could keep everybody as safe as possible. We normally build compost loos on our sites, but we've hired in compost loos this time as well, because actually they're much more aerated and cleaner and nicer than portaloos. The thought of getting in a portaloo at the moment, I find pretty terrifying. It's like, oh, put me in a plastic box where someone else has just breathed. Brilliant. And we're all solar powered as well. Yeah, I think I don't have any worries about the end of season going ahead. The vaccine's clearly working against all variants, certainly to a degree, and to quite a healthy degree. So I'm pretty, I'm 99% sure that we'll put that in.
So if you're at a quarter capacity, would you consider upping it a little bit, since you've got a bit of...
No. When I first started doing my own events, because I run the Something-Else tea tent as well, which is a venue that goes to bigger events. We could have sold out 3 or 4 times over in the early years, and I was just like, no, because I've watched these other events. They're great events, but they're not the sort of events that I want to put on. I like the small, compact, everybody knows everybody by the end of the weekend. Everyone's looking out for everybody. It makes them safe. We don't have to have loads of security and loads of other red tape tangled around us. What I did start doing was doing little ones around the country, thinking that the people in those areas would just go to them. But that's not what happened. Everybody still wanted to come to the end of season. So, but I like it that size. It works really well. Everybody feels comfortable there. So that's not an option. Just because I've got more space doesn't mean I'm going to fill it.
Amazing. And it's really important as well, that I think that it as an event organizer, I don't know that people don't understand. It's not hyperbolic. It's really important that everybody is having a safe time, and you've got to look out at people. And that's why, there's a strange thing happened where it's like there's some people, like I think Mr. C called them the plague raves, where people were going ahead and doing like sort of stuff in warehouses at the peak of the pandemic. And I mean how irresponsible that was. And people who actually do put on events and have done for years didn't, and they just waited till the time was right and it could be opened up in a safe way.
I think that's really important. I mean, I understand why people did that and why people went as well. I mean, I wouldn't have on either side, but when you feel like a caged animal, you just want to scream and break yourself free. And also, I think if until you've lost somebody to it or you've seen somebody suffer through long COVID and stuff, it was quite hard to believe that it was real. I think we have that mentality. I mean, maybe as humans, but certainly as British humans, that, and if it's not happening to you, it's not happening. I think television and dramas and soap operas and things like that kind of breed that mentality as well.
I've got some comments coming in. We've got Kirsten Jack in the house. We've got Cheryl in the house. What's the website? Kirsten's asking. I think she's wanting.
For this one,
yeah.
If you want tickets, it's buytickets.at/something-else.
I'll Google that. We're about to play a song in a minute, so I'll get the right link and put it up on the screen in a little minute. She also says, Portaloos, nah, just nah.
Yeah, long drop.
Al says, Mark Duck, so I can see that flyer. No bother, I can just do the rest of the show.
We've got inner terrestrials and all sorts to add to that as well.
There's some belters there. Love Three Daft Monkeys. We had Attila the stockbroker on this show once, and for some reason his volume broke. Or he couldn't hear me for some reason. So he just did a show himself for an hour. I just talked for an hour. And I did put up the odd occasional, I typed up the odd question and brought it up on the screen. But yeah, he shouts to Attila the stockbroker for doing that. We've got Rachel's house saying the Something-Else festivals are the best, safest and friendliest and just loveliest festivals I've ever been to.
Oh, cheers, Rach. She's right.
Alan got the bus to YouTube. That's correct. If you're watching this on Facebook, Twitch or Twitter, you will need to get the bus to YouTube. So I'll put the link in the comments. But we're going to play a little song just now. I don't know how exactly you first became on my radar, Gail. I think it might have been something to do with the song Cameron Cunt song.
Cameron, I would call you a cunt.
Cameron, I would call you a cunt.
Charm, yeah.
Yes, you don't have the depth of the charm. I think it might. I feel like it might be something like that, or Sick Note. Were you part of the Sick? Well, did you?
No, I wasn't. I know them.
You know Sick Note? No. I know you weren't part of it, but just you're friends with them, or
yeah.
So
was in the Cameron video actually.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's how it came about, because obviously Sick Note used to do their Scottish tours up here with us and stuff like that. So I think that's where it came from. But this, we'll talk about the Cameron, I would call you a cunt, but you don't have the depth of the charm song after this. But what we're going to do is we're going to something a bit more up to date. Will we start with Nice Ass? Or will we start with Epilogue?
Up to you.
Nice Ass. Let's start the show with some nice asses. Would you like to give us a little introduction to it?
Okay, well, firstly, Graham, the older gentleman in this he was not a gentleman, in this video is no longer with us, so it's dedicated to him. And this is for all you catcalling cunts out there who think it's clever to intimidate women.
And it's called Nice Ass.
Darling, do you come here often? Can I buy you a drink? It'll help to soften your resistance to what's going on in my knickers. My predatory lines will sound much slicker than they do on Tinder.
Left swipe, right swipe, use the village bike swipe.
Hello, gorgeous. Obviously, I'm going to stare at your chest while you're talking to me. Not because I don't care what you got to say, but that shirt would be off if I had my way. Sorry, what did you say? Check out the packet on that. Shows your ex love. My brains are in my cunt and they're always on the hunt to fulfill my entitlement. Nice arse. Sorry mate, I didn't see you there. Must be that dowdy jumper that you wear. It works like an invisibility cloak. You need to put more effort into be a sexy bloke. You're like a bad joke. Jesus babe, check out your shorts and your topless. I know your sort. It's a green light for me to have a break. You're deliberately almost showing scrote. What do you mean? No.
Get your knacker out.
Check out the packet on that. Show us your pecs, love. My brains are in my cunt and they're always on the hunt to fulfill my entitlement. Nice arse. Check out the packet on that. Show us your pecs, love. My brains are in my cunt and they're always on the hunt to fulfill my entitlement. Nice arse.
Get your shitter out.
This is how you act with other humans, it's a fact. You got no class.
Get your dignity out.
Next time you're acting like a rat, ask yourself if you'd like to see your mother treated like that. You arse.
Do you want weird or do you want itchy?
If you don't really know what's going on, there's a show that also doesn't know what's going on. Call that radio TV. You call that radio. Call that radio TV. You call that radio TV.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there. To watch the rest of the show, if you're on YouTube, just stay where you are. If you're on Twitch, Twitter or Facebook, am I on YouTube? Yes, you were transported to YouTube. You've already got the bus to YouTube. So yeah, I've put the link in the comments there. If you're not already on YouTube, then do that. If you're already on YouTube, then it's fine. You don't need to do anything. But buy Facebook, buy Twitch, buy Twitter, buy. We just seen. I've put the link in the comments to Muddy Summer's Bandcamp, so you can go and buy that right now. And we're with Gail right now.
I haven't seen that video for ages.
It's absolutely brilliant. And of course, RIP to your friend as well. Petra saying, great tune. Haha, tune. Tam says he met one of those guys at the weekend. You done a good job on him. We've got Rebecca Radical in the house. I love that. And Kirsten Jack says, cathartic.
Nice one.
Absolutely. And you see muddysummers.bandcamp.com. Is that the best place for people to support the music?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have. I'm the oldest member of our band, and I've kind of bowed down to the knowledge of the younger members on the whole need to be on Spotify and all those things in the last few weeks. So, I Get Off My Tits song has been on Spotify forever, but I've just uploaded our last 2 albums on there as well with it. But you can only hope that if people find you on Spotify, then they will go and find your Bandcamp and
Yeah,
grab your music
it's
from there, where we
it's
get
sad,
free
sad,
slice of the
sadly
pie.
that seems to be the way. I did my own one man boycott of Spotify for many years, and Spotify won. But
Yeah.
so I do feel a bit dirty putting things on Spotify as well. But what I did just there is I just brought an album out this week in Spotify, but it was on Bandcamp for 2 weeks on a private stream. So it was like if people want to support the album, they could buy the album and hear it first before everyone else. But it still takes a bit of a leap of faith because I mean, people might not, they don't know if the album's any good. So what about thank you to everyone who did support the album without even hearing it, and a few people have since supported it after listening to it on Spotify. So maybe it does work. It's just the thing is that Spotify, the pitch they gave everyone was, well, if they enjoy your music, they'll go and buy it. But they've made their spots, made the app such a way that it's actually a very good app and it doesn't actually take up all the memory of your phone. And most people are consuming music on the move now. So yeah, they've done a number on the music industry. But like you said, that's everyone's on it now. So you've just got to kind of hope that the algorithm will show it to new people. And hopefully when gigs return and hopefully you'll get an increase in merch sales or gig tickets getting sold. So yeah, suppose you just got to hold your nose and put it on Spotify.
Yeah, 3 streams from people who are signed up to Spotify. So that doesn't include the free users. You get a tiny amount for them, but 3 streams and you get a penny.
Is that have they put the price up? That seems quite.
Well,
I think
only if
I thought
you
it was
subscribe to it, you get nearly a third of a penny per
all right.
stream of over 30 seconds. So yeah, it's bollocks really.
Yeah. Kirsten saying it's ace. Yeah, well, go and always go and check it out on Bandcamp. Buy the albums; they're brilliant. How many albums is there? It seems like I'm just going to show people the Bandcamp page because we're not going to. Let's stop talking to Spotify and let's.
As a band instead of a collaboration, there's 4 albums, and the last 2 albums are of the regular lineup, which is Lizzie, Amy, Ren, and me. But we've got all sorts of stuff on there. There's all sorts of t-shirts and
mugs.
Yeah.
Dirty Field Tour mugs.
Dirty Field Tour mugs. Yeah.
I've got my. You call that radio mug as well? Yeah. It's it was actually Doghouse from Signal who first coined the phrase. He said that we're just glorified t-shirt sellers, and that was when Signal were doing well. We're playing to big crowds, and they went, they're just glorified t-shirt sellers. That's all we are. But yeah, if you want to enjoy, if you use Spotify, then fair enough. But go and buy yourself a mug or a t-shirt as well. So when did the band start? How long he's been together?
It started as collaboration about 10.5 years ago, and I'd been writing words forever. But when I was 12, me and my niece did like this family performance like you do as kids and stuff. And my mum took me to one side afterwards and she said, "Don't sing in public. You'll just embarrass yourself." So I never sang. And then I wrote some naughty words to Johnny Cash's Ghost Riders song. And I wanted to perform it at my 39th birthday. So I asked my friends who played the normal song if they'd do it with me. And I just had a rehearsal with them in the car park and they were like, "Oh, you can really sing." And I'm like, "Oh, can I?" Because I don't know, because I've never done it, because I was told I was crap.
Cheers, Mum.
Yeah,
cheers.
And I've been kind of gob-eyeing in songwriting since. So it was an outlet for my words, basically. And I've collaborated with lots of different people. And we kind of had a loose band in the tea tent and festival fields, whoever was available, basically. And then Mel from Tarantism said to me a few years ago, "Just get some decent musicians behind you. You write great words. Make it a band." And that's what I did. And Amy's been with me since then. Lizzie's been with us she's on the last 3 albums. And Ren joined us a couple of years ago. And it works really well. We go busking a lot. We all get on. We're really good friends. I write Ren's a songwriter as well. He wrote a couple of the ones on the last album, but generally I write the words and do a really bad guitar version of it, send it off, and then everyone writes their own parts. So you never know what's coming. That's what was amazing about the Elegance of Mud. We did that in over 2 weeks in lockdown. We all recorded it at home, apart from one song that we'd done before. And then I mixed it, produced it, arranged it, sent it off to my friend to master it. And it was all done and dusted in a fortnight. We released it from scratch to done in a fortnight. And we haven't played a load of those songs together before either. So what came out was like, wow, this is really cool. I can't wait to play it live now.
It was that, because obviously, were you doing a lot of writing before that? How did you find lockdown for writing? Because I know that a lot of people kind of struggled a little bit with the writing.
Okay, actually, I wrote a few of those songs I wrote during lockdown, but they're the more sort of personal ones. And obviously the state of the world. Conspiraloon is on the new album, but that was first released in it was a bit of a crap album in 2014, craply put together. Just kind of updated the words to be about the virus and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely had a big splurge of it, and then it just went boom. I haven't written a song for weeks now, and I normally scroll a couple of down every week. I have released a solo EP though, which is mostly stuff that I've written through lockdown, but not very Muddy Summers type stuff. So it's a bit more gentle.
So when you're writing a song, you don't know what's going to happen, and then once it's finished, you're like, right, that's going in solo pile, or that's in the Muddy Summers pile.
And I write, if the words kind of spin around in my head, but with no form, they're not even in sentences to start with. But when they decide to come out of me, or something's made my brain click, some crap on the news or something, then usually those songs are written within an hour and have got like a basic tune to them. And I might edit the odd word because I just can't scan it. I'll try and get as many words in a sentence as I can sometimes. But so they're boom, bish, bash, bosh, done. And it either gets used or it gets rejected. And that's it. That's how I write.
So Conspiraloon made a comeback, and also understand the Cameron, I Would Call You a Cunt, has a new updated version for
did
Boris.
A Boris version last year, yeah, and I made a little stop animation for it as well. And I just did I've got to do the last 15 miles, but I just did an 185-mile walk along the Ridgeway and then the Icknield Way, which passes through Chequers. And it was like, I can't walk through Chequers and do nothing, but I don't want to get arrested. So I did sing a little tiny, just half of the chorus as we were walking through the grounds of Chequers next to this big tower of all these CCTV cameras. And helicopters were circling around. Boris was home, So that was, it's the little victories, isn't it? Like having a wanking house and get invited in and stuff like that.
Well, actually, can we watch? I would like to. I've not actually watched it all the way through yet. So is it okay to play that just now?
Crack on.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm a massive fan of the original. I mean, that went pretty viral. That was everywhere.
Yeah, it was nuts.
So originally, Cameron, I Would Call You a Cunt. This is Boris, I Would Call You a Cunt.
So it's farewell to the NHS and our fire stations. Sanctioned on the dole when employment's in a hole and not a fucking mention. Tax cuts for the richest, benefit cuts for the poor. Can you please explain to me why we should tolerate your shit anymore? Boris Johnson, I would call you a cunt, but you don't have the depth or charm. And if we should ever meet, you'll also meet my baby mom. Boris Johnson, I would call you a cunt, but the usefulness and beauty are amiss. And if we should ever meet, I'll be helping you get into that ditch. It's a bit weird getting your jollies from increasing our risk of dying. Or can you just not get it up without the thought of poor folks crying? You punch tables victorious. Each time you whack another coffin nail in, while I punch pictures of your face. And my hate for you is unfailing. Jacob Rees-Mogg, I would call you a cunt, but you don't have the depth or charm. And if we should ever meet, you'll also meet my bailing arm. Nigel Farage, I would call you a cunt, but the usefulness and beauty are a miss. And if we should ever meet, I'll be giving you a glassy kiss. To murder what we breathed life into for years, and rape the state born from our blood, sweat and tears. Abuse our children with all these unnecessary cuts. If we ever meet, may your God help your nuts. Boris Johnson, I would call you a cunt, but you don't have the depth or charm. And if we should ever meet, you'll also meet my bailing arm. Oh, governments, I will call you all cunts, 'cause you're very good at pissing down on those living hand to mouth. Let's hook a furrow right the ditching. Cunts.
Brothers and sisters, may the peace that can only come from the one God be upon you. We are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us as people of conscience to lose our morale.
Powered by our patrons. We are indeed powered by our patrons. Shout outs to everyone who supports the show at patreon.com/you call that radio. And I understand you were just saying off air that you managed to do a Patreon as well over the last year.
Yeah, just a little tiny one, because obviously something else still has insurance bills and stuff when it can't go out. And normally selling boozy coffee and cake and stuff in the tea tent would cover all that sort of thing. So we just had a few nice people contribute and cover that. And the reward was, I'm getting ready to do it actually this weekend, is a little 30-person campfire session with some acoustic music around a fire. Everyone's socially distanced. I'm really looking forward to it because I get to see some of my friends that I haven't seen for ages. And obviously some of our crew and stuff will be there too. So Patreon's really good. It's definitely helping a lot of people. And yeah,
I've no idea what I would have did without it. I mean, my whole life was live events, and then overnight, so it was just like lockdown. I was like, I better do something, and this is why this show was born.
yeah,
And we're about 300 odd shows later, and we're still doing it. Although I don't know if people are sick of me yet. I don't know. I know that people would rather watch the football, so that's why we're not clashing many of the big football games. And also, I've not been lazy. I have been filming lots of stuff. We've got Rebecca Radical in the comments. An amazing set from her is going to be will be on our channel very soon. We got some good live performances recorded at the weekend.
yes, the women.
Oh well, we had an 80% gender balance in for women, and it was just a. You know, it was like I think I've been Dr. Normal's tuned in as well. I think, and just with Mrs. Magoo DJing is with it was great. And I try not to think too much about gender, but there's just so many talented women in the
It's
Scottish
massive.
scene that it always ends up being 50-50 or actually more in favour of the women these days, to be honest.
That's really cool because globally it's a bloody issue, but it's an issue on the grassroots as well. I mean, I started putting Sisterfest on 4 years ago. I don't know. I've lost all the years now. Just to highlight the because I've been the token woman on a lot of lineups, and you watch all these lineups coming out, and it's like, excuse me, where are the women? You know. So I thought I'd parody what was going on and hold a mirror up. And so we had a token boy band, and for the whole weekend, the other 2 stages, all female and female led, you know, women who identify whatever, but it's and I got called sexist. And it's like, well, hang on a minute.
Perfect. That's exactly what you want.
With the female token act, you know, you're not calling them sexist, but if I do it, I'm sexist. Look, you know, and then it was called a lesbian feminazi fest and all sorts of other things. And actually, everyone who came, it got boycotted massively on the scene. But it's like everybody who did come said it's the nicest event that they've ever been to, because there's no fucking testosterone, you know, there's no pissing contests. It's just, you know, it's a lovely party, but it shouldn't have to happen. But it is still an issue. And seeing coming out of lockdown, I know a lot of women have had to kind of go back in time in those roles of looking after family as well as working. So there's been a noticeable drop in women promoting themselves through lockdown on live streams and stuff because they've been too fucking busy. So
With
now
schools being closed, and I mean, there's lots of schools up here that just, you know, as soon as somebody's tested positive, then everyone goes in isolation and stuff like that.
But there's also this ingrained sexism, and women just aren't given the same opportunities. So I wanted to set up a platform where young women felt they could approach, because women I know that are long in the tooth and been on the scene for 20 odd years don't apply to certain places, because they've either been groped there, or they know that they won't get booked because they're a woman and they're not a woman who's 20 with her tits hanging out, you know. And there's all these, it's the opportunity that's imbalanced, and I'm constantly battling on to address that. And now we're coming out of lockdown and it's gone back a bit, because we were making some amazing progress. I mean, Bearded Theory having Skunk Anansi as a headliner was my fault, because and Rich was hands up when I spoke to him. I spoke to lots of promoters and organisers, and he was like, shit, I hadn't even thought about it, you know. And then we get Skunk Anansi, which is like, yeah. So yeah, and so I've just set up an art project. I'm an artist, and that's how I earn my living. And I've just set up an art project called Where Art the Women. And the plan is, I'm going to try and get funding, but the plan is I'm going to paint all these wonderful grassroots female musicians, do portraits of them and stuff, and then take it out as a exhibition tour, but with those women playing as well. So, you know, hopefully we'll fill art centres with joyous feminine music. And it will hopefully keep helping make a difference.
Absolutely. In my band, China Babies, we've got 2 females in our band, and it was really eye-opening for me when having females in the band, just like little things that, you know, weren't even meant. A lot of it wasn't even meant bad. It was like, you know, helping. So there's a difference between helping someone with an amp onto the stage. You know, it's probably more likely the women might get help with the amp than the guy necessarily, but it was things like, you know, helping plug in the bass guitar. It's like, have you heard Joe? Joe's also in the Twistettes, and what, you know, a fantastic bassist.
She's
and
awesome.
Just, you know, the idea of someone helping her plug in a bass guitar is crazy. Also remember Dr. Jazzlan, she's on her synth, and you know, the sound engineer would come up to me and go, so what? She's got quite a lot of synths. She's quite a technical setup with lots of different stuff going on, and the sound engineer's asking me, and she's just right next to me, and I'm like, ask her. She's a doctor in music. I just shout into a microphone. I have no idea.
So much of that, and it's really got to stop. You know,
yeah.
Or a woman will answer a question, and then whoever's asked the question, whether it's the promoter or the soundman or whatever, they'll look over her to the men. You know, as like they're going to give a different answer.
Just checking that is the case.
That's sexism, you know. I'm sure the intention isn't there, but that doesn't stop it being what it is, and it needs addressing.
I think we're quite lucky that it seems to have got better in the last few years. And in Glasgow, I suppose it depends on you know, what promoters you're working with or what venues you're working with as well. But it seems to be quite apparent. There's venues that do a better job, and there's promoters that do a better job of it as well.
Absolutely. But they all need to be doing it. You know, it's, whole male lineups for all days and stuff are not acceptable.
Yeah.
you
I
know.
love the fact that someone called your lineup sexist though. That is just. Did you not put that on the flyer?
No, but I wanted to.
Who was it? Was it someone? Who was it that said it? Oh, I don't. You don't need to name the person, but like, would it have?
Oh, several people.
Yeah. Oh, I would have definitely put that on the flyer.
And I
Just-
also had women telling me that we shouldn't allow men on site, and then having to explain to people, no, you know, and all the emails. Well, can I bring my boyfriend? Yes, of course. There'll be men on the stage. You
Yeah.
know, but this is about promoting women in music and showcasing the fact that, because I had it to do with someone who told me, who put a whole male lineup up, and I said, well, where are the women? And he's like, well, there aren't enough decent women on the scene. And I'm like, right, I'm going to build a whole database. No, better than that, I'm going to put on a 3-day fucking festival to show you that you're wrong, you know. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't name names, and you know, lots of them have come back to me since and gone, okay, you know, I see your point. Once I debate with them, but then you're spending so much time debating with people over little things. Just read our website, you know, and it explains it to you. Don't tell me that, well, you only book on talent, because it's not that simple. Women are applying less because they're met with sexism, are certainly not gigging in certain places because they will get groped, or if they do get groped, nothing's done about it, or, you know, like you say, they're kind of ignored or spoken down to, or, you know, how can they possibly understand how to work that instrument? You know, I have it with my radio mic. If you put it on a different frequency to what the monitors and stuff are going to be on, there's no feedback, it's fine. But then I get male sound engineers telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and they know better than me because they've been a sound engineer for 30 years. And I'm like, but this is my equipment and I've learned how to use it, you know, and shall we just try it and see if it works? And then it works, and you rarely get an apology. You normally get a harumph, and
Harumph.
you know, and the whole ethos of not pissing the sound engineer off. So you're doing it really politely through gritted teeth and smiling, but yeah, it gets so frustrating.
Well, it's frustrating because as well, I suppose there is a power imbalance with the sound engineer for everybody who has to play as well, because it's like, I had an idiot guitarist, sorry Hazy, but you know, back in the day who was rude to a sound engineer, and you know, the sound engineer just went out his way to make a sound worse. So
Of
it's like
course.
you've just got to kind of like, you know, be sound. They're usually grumpy bastards as well, but you've got to be civil to them and be nice, because they might do a better job. We've got Rebecca Radical saying, "You're amazing, Gail."
Oh,
Kirstine saying, "This show is good for the mind." And Dr. Normal saying, "Yeah, it was really great, thank you." Mon the Lassies. And yeah, Dr. Normal does some amazing stuff. A great night up in Glasgow called Feel Better as well. That does great stuff. Rebecca Radical, do you know Rebecca?
no.
No, amazing punk poet. I don't even know. She does too much now. I can't actually describe her, but she started her set doing fast kind of punky tunes in the acoustic, and then moved on to electro, to poetry, to something sometimes bordering on hip hop. So yeah, definitely want to watch. Rebecca does amazing fashion stuff. So I recommend both Dr. Normal and Rebecca Radical to check out. Absolutely. And if you're ever bringing your thou, where art thou? Where art women? Where art women?
Where are the women?
Where art the women? Which is a great name, by the way. So if you're bringing that up to Scotland, there's definitely plenty of characters up here. That would be great.
Venues.
Venues, yeah, I can do that. Well, once they open.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
We
Yeah,
don't- there's not-
next year.
Well, we have been told, you know, for the first time since all the restrictions, the first time we've been given a date is August the 9th. It seems like they're saying that all restrictions will be gone by August the 9th. So maybe we'll have indoor live music then. Obviously, I'm not getting my hopes built up anymore. I'm quietly optimistic. It's good to see things are returning at some level. But yeah, I'm not putting dates on it. I'm finding it hard to book anything. I've just agreed to a festival in September. Well, two actually in September. and I'm crossing my fingers for it, because I realise that I don't want to end up missing like a party. I want to play again. I really want to play again, but I don't want to start organising too much stuff again right now. But Lou says, I hate it when a guy tries to mansplain. Thanks, mate. How much do you value your teeth? Because you're going to lose them soon if you keep that up.
Nicely done.
You're talking about, going back to the art, I love the stop motion animation that you did for Boris. I would call you a cunt. How long does that process take?
That took me, I mean, it is done fairly simply. It was pretty basic, so I suppose I put it together in about 3 days. But when I kind of zone in on doing something, and I say I'm going to do it, then it's like, right, I'm going to do it now. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, well, I've finally got a good computer for the first time in my life, so it actually has made that a lot easier, because things actually work. Because having a low concentration span, because I love just getting stuck in as well, but
Yeah.
try to use Premiere Pro with a laptop from 1992.
No.
It's I don't know how I did. I did this show for half the year where I have no idea. Everything just kept breaking all the way through it and freezing. I have no idea how I did it then. But I suppose I didn't know how good things were with it. So I didn't know that everybody else had good computers. There's a lot of video people out there that I had respect for, that I went, actually, now I know that you just had a good camera and editing software. So, but yeah, the stop, it looks like a long process. I'm sure that it's taken you years of skills to get to the point where you can do that in 3 days.
I'm kind of, I learn these things as I go along. It's like the zine that I've just put out. I've never used that kind of software before for publishing, and I just kind of learn it as I do it, really. I mean, I've made quite a lot of videos. Most of the Muddy Summers videos I've made. But it's trial and error, really. And my brain won't tell me that it's okay to do those things unless I know that I've got time to really explore it and crack on. But yeah, it could be loads better, couldn't it? You know, if I had more time and time to actually learn what I was doing, rather than just going, okay, I've learned that bit, I'll utilize that, and then just adding a few more skills here and there as I'm going along.
Well, I think that's been for lockdown. The amount of new softwares I've been forced to learn, and it's been quite good, because it's what I've learned from that experience is that there's a lot of barriers that I put. I think everyone puts in front of themselves, like, I don't know the first thing about this. But at the end of the day, you don't need to know all the buttons. You just need to know a few buttons. And we've got YouTube tutorials. Every stupid question you think that everyone's asked the same question at some point, and there is usually plenty of people online, and they're just watching a couple of minutes tutorials, and you can learn a lot very quickly.
Yeah, it's the internet's an amazing place, isn't it?
Sometimes
Stuff like that. Yeah, well, it's not true, but creatively, I think it's pretty amazing.
And it is great, the fact that we can talk to people on this show from all across the world. And yeah, no, it's good. The internet is good most of the time. I've got another song lined up. It's Epilogue. Do you want to give us a little introduction to that?
Yeah, this was written after I actually spent some time sort of caring for a diagnosed sociopath. And I mean, it's not just got one person in it. It's kind of a mixture of people that I've come across, because the entertainment industry does. I mean, we're all a bit narcissistic and showy offy if we're getting on stages. That's standard. But then it kind of attracts disordered people too, because it's easy pickings for energy feeding and stuff like that, because it's usually people involved that have got a lot of energy and stuff. So it's kind of an observation of that. And our Amy, our cajon player, made the video. It's her partner that's in the video. She's also a brilliant we're really into our sort of film noir-y. Most of our videos have got like scratches on and they're black and white and stuff like that. But she put this together. Tom Robinson played this song actually on his Saturday night show on Six Music, so that was lovely.
Big up Tom Robinson. Can I just press the name drop button for Tom?
The name drop.
You call that radio?
Yeah, he's a
Sorry.
and no,
Just when we hear a legend like Tom, we've got to do it. Got to do it.
but yeah, so that's basically what the song is about. But the video is just beautiful, and Lizzie's fiddle in it is extraordinary as well. Yeah, it kind of shows our softer side, if you like, but also with the lyrics have obviously got a dark subject.
Amazing. Well, I want to talk more about that subject with you after we've watched the video. Let us know in the comments what you make of this.
He watches them carefully for months, maybe years, noting what leads to their smiles, their tears, moulding the mask to fit with the hook, penciling page numbers in his tawdry book, charts marked for strength, assets and status. He observes how they deal with their lovers and haters. Survivors taste better, he learned, but the ticket would quicker be burned. And so would he, though a banquet that stings surely feels pity from fresh damaged wings. That'll do for a quick bite of grace, amusement in the bitter long days between chapters, for most without order. But his focus will only barely afford her anything more than his hungry teeth, while scribbling hard on a blank fresh leaf, where ink will bleed dead through each side like a murmuration that forgot how to fly. And while his words lead their own dance, he will not leave the rhythm to chance. So back to who's worthy, who tips the scales, who can fill both his glass and his sails, weighed up with a handful of feathers and air, the sum of his efforts not too heavy to bear. Like the impact of what's down forever in pen, and the urge to repeat those same lines again, but impotent smiles between shadow covers, and the pages too thumbed to still tell of lovers. The dust jacket's now too small for this story. He scans his notes, panicked for who's next before he resigns to an epilogue in his own scroll. I feasted till I could no more make them fall. And still the ink bleeds dead through each side like a murmuration that forgot how to fly.
Brothers and sisters.
Is that you, Daniel? Are you before me?
Call that radio.
You call that radio.
Hello? Hello? Yes, this is Dog.
This is You Call That Radio TV. We're live with Gail. Question 9, Hawk Lord says, sub Rebecca Radical, who was the other act? I've put in the comments there. So we got live footage on Saturday of Rebecca Radical, Dr. Normal, Mrs. Magoo, Somnia, and Feet for Eyes. All of them amazing in their own ways, doing different things. So you'll find most of them on YouTube. Or if you subscribe to our channel, the live footage should be done in the next week or so. I'm going to make an effort to get that out rapid as soon as I've got a minute. We've got love hearts and round of applause from Petra. Cheers, great show, by the way. Thank you. Excellent. Both the song and the video give me vibes of The Creatures.
Oh, nice.
Dr. Normal says, this is beautiful. And we are here, says Kirstine. And Dr. Normal says, I love DIY culture, but sometimes it means we devalue people's skills who have been doing it for years and should be paid for their expertise. I'm a technophile, trying my best. A technophile? Sorry, I don't want to pretend I don't understand what you mean by a technophile. But yeah, I get what you mean as well. I mean, it's a constant problem with if you try to do things DIY and you try to keep your ticket prices low or even free.
We pay all our acts. I mean, all of my events, we pay all our acts. Then the exception is, I mean, sometimes we're booked as a stage with the T-Tent where the acts are paid for by the organisers. And at Bearded Theory, we get a very small budget, but we're also the open mic stage. And lots of bands and acts that play on the other stages are like, oh, can we go and play a gig in the T-Tent? They just want to come and do it, and that's fine. But as far as Something Else is go, my own events, everybody gets paid. And some of the crew get paid. Some of them do it voluntary because they've got a decent job. They don't want to take money out of the event. I don't take any money out of Something Else at all. I mean, indirectly, I guess I do because I sell more art and I've given my own band a stage that now gets, invited to play on lots of other stages that we get paid for on and stuff. But it's not, DIY culture shouldn't, this whole thing. I mean, I stopped saying yes to every benefit gig years ago. And if anyone says, oh, it's good exposure, then they get the fucking finger from me.
The exposure.
Yeah, it'll give you exposure. I don't want exposure, mate.
Well,
I'm not looking to top
well,
the
I
charts
kind
or
of
anything. I'm quite happy playing music.
I don't
my time to do it.
We do the benefit gigs from time to time, but it's got to be I've got to know the promoter involved, and it's got to be a cause that I care about. And also, I always rule out, things like with cancer research. There's lots of other great cancer charities who are on the ground doing great stuff. But if it's a big, massive charity, then what are we going to raise for them? $1,000, $2,000?
They can take that off the CEO's bonus, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, $1,000 or $2,000 could mean so much to a small grassroots charity. Also, another reason but I kind of need to know the people involved is because I've had situations whereby basically somebody who's an event coordinator who's on I would imagine a very good salary gets me to get my band on the bill, and then gets me to book the acts, and then gets me to bring the back line and stuff like that. So yeah,
they're doing their job.
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck that.
And then you feel guilty for asking for petrol money for the van guy who's doing you a favour to take the back line that you borrowed off someone else as a favour. So CEO gets big pickings. Yeah, but
yeah, always. Big charities are fucking scam. But if you're supporting your local hospice, that's completely self-funded. That's a different thing. But I think any benefit gig should factor in the expenses of the performers.
I want to go back actually to the energy vampire type thing you were kind of alluding to.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean they're really good for inspiration to write songs. I mean I I write about stuff that I've experienced, that I see, and that I feel. You know, I don't write about things that I don't know about. That's for people who do know about them. But it's, I mean, it's rife and it's getting worse. I think, you know, I mean, I grew up in the Thatcher years, where she kind of pushed the whole solitary ant thing, didn't she? And the breaking down of society and stuff. And it's I'm all right, Jack. And I think we've got generations coming up now that if you grow up with parents whose focus is the I'm all right, Jack thing, and then it's going to rub off onto their children. You know, that attitude. Some will rebel against it, like we all rebel against our parents. But I think society is you know, the increase in cases of people with cluster B disorders, which is narcissist personality disorder, sociopathy, and psychopathy, are because of how society works. You know, lots of them come from abuse as well, but that whole I'm all right, Jack thing is encouraged abuse rather than discourage the cycles of abuse that either lead on to abuse or lead on to you accepting abuse. So, you know, it's a big kind of patriarchal issue for sure.
G Lee's in the house. Good evening, Trips. Hope you're all well. Hope you're well too, G Lee. Milk thief, says Kirsten. No explanation needed.
Milk snatcher, yeah.
Milk snatcher. This is A, says officially Pete. Exactly. Good chat, says Petra. And yeah, just well, we've been here for about an hour. So just to wrap it up, let's get some plugs out the way. How is it? So there's about 30 tickets left for this.
Yeah. It's
So
only 500 people.
If you want to go, where is it for people that don't know?
What?
Where is it for people that don't know?
This year we're about 2 miles from Woolacombe, and you can see the sea from the site. We're 2 miles from the sea, which is going to be very exciting. I've kind of made it
It's very unusual as well, because you know festivals are usually in a big field in the middle of more fields, so it's good to get a bit of seaside.
I mean, it is, you know, it's on a farm and you have got a kind of half an hour, 40-minute walk to get to the beach. But the fact that you can see it from the site as well is quite incredible. It's a lovely site. I mean, they're nice events for anyone that hasn't been. We're completely solar powered. It's all live music. We don't have a dance tent, and we kind of have 2 stages running side by side. When one ends, the next one starts, and then we have an acoustic stage over yonder. So we have 3 stages. A real ale and cider bar. We don't sell lager. You know, there's all these little things in place that have been in place from the start that I've kind of thought about, and it's like, what don't I like about festivals? Rowdy people on lager, loads of drugs, you know, and unfortunately dance tents kind of attract that. And I'm a big fan of promoting real grassroots music. So we don't have any DJs. You know, loads of festivals have all the things that we don't have. I just kind of simmered it down to the things that I love the most. I'm like a really bad DJ actually, and I book acts whose music I like. It's very high octane, kind of folky. We have some kind of dub reggae sort of stuff as well, a bit of punk, but the more melodic kind. Yeah, and it attracts, like the tea tent, it attracts a very, very mixed crowd. So, you know, there's some traveller folk and boaties right through to retired barristers and accountants and just everybody in between. And I mean, I still don't know what most people do for a living that come, and nor do most of the other people, because they're just, you know, it's not cliquey. We've got probably out of the 500 people there'll be 250 regulars, and then it's other people who are kind of coming and discovering what a lovely, safe environment is. It's safe for kids. You know, we're dog friendly as long as you pick up after them and keep them attached to some vague human. And they're nice. We have a lovely fire pit at midnight. The music goes off, and then there's lovely jamming around the fire pit till dawn on Friday and Saturday nights. And yeah, everyone's really respectful. And they're just really nice parties, and I can't wait till September.
You've sold it for me. The ticket link is there. I did Google it, but I believe that is the correct one. It's tickettailor.com. Does that sound a bit right?
That one will do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a comment earlier on that I missed from the Out to Lunch said, sod Spotify, give me a CD. It will give the kids something to send to the charity shop when they put me in a home. Petra says, sounds like a perfect festival. No boom boom.
No.
Officially, Pete says, it's amazing.
Oh,
no lager louts, says Kirstine.
No, real nice ale though.
Nice ale. You got a polar bear down there. That by the way, this is Al. He is nicknamed the polar bear. That is his name. I don't know. Do you have polar bears down there?
Well, what in Devon? Dinosaurs, isn't it? They haven't evolved into polar bears yet.
I don't know. Al, would you be okay without lager and boom boom music? I don't know if polar bear could. I don't know if it's for you, but it sounds definitely for everyone else. So go and get your ticket right now. And what another plug for Muddy Summer's Bandcamp and your solo EP?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Muddy Summer's Bandcamp is full of all that crap and some nice music. I think it's nice music anyway. And I've just released a solo EP that I had a couple of guests on a couple of the tracks, but I've played all the instruments myself and done the MIDI and stuff, and obviously wrote the songs. One of the songs is about my grandmother who got pregnant when she was 17 in 1920 and was subsequently forced to marry someone 30 years older than her who attacked her with an axe. And the song's basically about that and how she stood up for herself in court as a woman, and then she went on to do a lot for women's rights and stuff. So yeah, there's a lovely 6-minute story song about her on there. That's also on the Bandcamp. It's called An Echo in Time. That was fun. Yeah, and we're playing our first gig this weekend at the campfire session. May well be busking in Shrewsbury if anyone's around that area.
Amazing. Lindsay says, I'm loving the sound of this. Got friends and family down that way too. Maybe. The polar bear says it sounds lovely. I'm laughing, sorry. I'm sure he could handle it. He's a lovely guy, really. I'm sure he'll make do with real ale and some good folk music. And Out to Lunch says, we have dragons up north. And Cheryl saying, it has beautiful vibes. I'm sure it does. Gail, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with the campfire jam. I'm sure it'll be awesome. And I'll hopefully see you down by the sea at the end of September. We don't have another show tomorrow because I'm at the Fan Zone. I'm actually going to a gig. I'm going to Celtic Connections at the Fan Zone. In fact, actually on that point, if there's anyone that can join me tomorrow, I think I might have a couple of spare tickets. It's seating in Glasgow Green, and it's a bunch of amazing folk bands playing for Celtic Connections on a big stage. So I think we might have a couple of spare tickets. So if you can make it, we all need to arrive at the same time because of stupid laws at the moment. So 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So if you can be at Glasgow Green before 5 o'clock, then give me a shout. I've got a couple of free tickets to give away for yous. And Friday night is a comedy night, so I'm away for that as well. But I'm going to have some music, some recorded live sets going up on the channel over the weekend. So make sure you've subscribed for that. Lucien, the festival sounds amazing. Not having dance music is music to my ears.
Yeah.
Amazing, Gail. Thank you very much.
Thank
Guys,
you.
go and get stuff from Muddy Summer's Bandcamp. If you choose to listen to Spotify, then go get yourself a mug or a t-shirt and support local independent music. Unless you live really, really far away, then support really, really far away independent music. Thank you very much. See ya.
All systems go.
Ignition.
What is that? Oh shit! What is that?
It's a trap.
Who you fighting?
I have 4 dogs in my backyard. I'm constantly pumping those dogs, man.
It's good that people are getting bummed up again because we've not had enough of that. This is a democracy on You Call That Radio. 3, 2, 1.
Your call is very important. Please hold.